Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and today I'm reacting to more Ren, and this time we're turning back the clocks a little bit further. We're reacting to Money Game Part 1, and if you're a recent subscriber of mine, you'll probably have realized, Sohum, didn't you literally just react to Money Game Part 3? How are you reacting to Part 1 right now? And yes, it is true. I listened to these out of order completely. Once Money Game Part 3 came out, which I didn't even know Money Game existed, I just instantly hopped on that bandwagon. I loved it. I'm going to do my due diligence now. Listen to Part 1, react to it. Listen to Part 2, react to that. So hopefully you enjoy the reactions and hit that subscribe button. And, maybe listening to it out of order has a different perspective that can be offered. Hopefully that's interesting to you. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
It's a strange time we're living in. War can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Greed runs through parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theory, stripe, fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Nearly blinded by illusions to choose, but who's fooling who? A ball chained to your shoes, I'm pained. It's a crying shame, the pursuit of our...
So much is going on already. You can hear, just with the guitar, he's pretty much doing a little bit of a melody line over the top, and then just simply strumming the chords along. So simple on the music front so far, where the meat of the weight of the song is being pulled right now is coming directly from Ren. It's coming from his powerful lyrics about hierarchy, about power, about the oppression of everybody who's a subject to these hypocrisies and demons. And then you can hear his switching and flow, right? He's going into this narration form at first, and then he goes into like a rapper flow, dot 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 dot. And then, we all know what Ren's capable of. He can do the narration, he can do the rap, he can sing songs with great melodies. I don't know, it's so cool that he can just be so fluid between all of those three.
Chained to your shoes, I'm pained. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets this whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits...
There's a phrase that money makes the world go round, right? And he's saying once the world turns, it burns. And that's such a clever play on words, because both of those are very, I think, popular idioms. So the fact that money is the thing that catalyzes change, catalyzes any motivation within society, but it's also the very thing that is destructive. It punishes us. Money is the root of all evil. Greed is the root of all evil. These things persist over time. There are reasons why these famous adages and idioms come to be. There are people wise who lived before us, Ren is one of those people who lives among us now. Among us. Okay, let's carry on.
As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer.
Saint into a sinner.
His finger on the trigger of a money game.
I heard. Okay, so there's a comment in my Money Game Part 3 reaction, hearkening back to the saint turning into a sinner line, which is really cool that you guys have been so informative to me in the comments. So keep doing that. Really, I appreciate that. And then this line right here, turning everything into a money game, as his hand is forming a gun against the temple of this gentleman here playing the guitar. In Money Game Part 3, he had it to himself. So he's using the same lyrics. I love the callbacks that he did in Part 3 to Part 1. Always his ability to draw between his own art is so impressive, because when you listen to one Ren song, one Ren musical masterpiece, it's like you're getting like portals into other pieces of Ren's art. It's all interconnected in a way that really makes you connected to Ren as an artist. It's one of the reasons why I feel like when you hear one Ren song, you hear 5 of them. And when you hear the other 5, you hear 25 of them. And then you just really get a holistic picture of who he is, what he thinks, how he behaves, what he feels. Other artists, you kind of have a difficult time understanding who they are as a person. And it's because, they just take a perfectly cropped image of themselves within the context of one song. So when you hear their second song, it's like, was this even the same artist? I think there's a lot of people complaining online now about how the music that's coming out feels very cookie cutter. And maybe this is a criticism that persists across time when you have, maybe mainstream pop artists who just all sound the same. But let's just take the contrapositive, and Ren is that contrapositive, is that counterfactual. This guy literally embodies himself. When you hear him and his music, you know it's Ren. That is truly remarkable.
Game. His finger on the trigger of a money game.
So good.
Oh, rain, 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 rain.
Oh, yes, sir.
The storm, it comes our way.
Love that.
Rise through distorted lies. Poison in the veins, but we die to point the blame, blame, blame.
I love it. I love this influence.
It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this whole money game.
It's so true. So everybody always says, oh, capitalism is the root of all evil, greed is the root of all evil, these kind of things, right? But they don't necessarily realize that they have a say. They can vote with their dollar. They participate in the money game. So as much as we all want to be holier than thou as individuals, we all participate in this system in some way, shape, and form. So you can either swallow one pill. You can be super hypocritical and say, I hate capitalism, I hate money, and nobody should participate while you're doing the very thing. Or you can say, look, there are good aspects to money and there are terrible aspects to money, and then recognize how you as an individual can best leverage the money that you have in the system that you are operating within, so that you are a positive influence and not a negative one, so that you're a selfless individual, not a selfish one. So I don't know, people like to be very quick to say money's evil, and it's true, but it's a very superficial view. Be more nuanced in your opinions. That's the best way. Context matters more than we say out loud. It's ridiculous. It's one of my pet peeves. Some imagery that this just kind of makes me think of now, because he's in both videos, part 1 and part 3, he's had the hooded figure with the rope around their neck. It could mean a number of things, and I'll give one interpretation that I'm thinking. One is, obviously, when somebody is being executed, they have the hood over their head as to not see their face when they're in the state of death, and others who are witnessing the execution at the gallows aren't horrified at the atrocity of what's occurring. The other idea, if we're taking it less literally and more figuratively, is the fact that when you have the mask covering yourself, you could be anybody, right? It's completely anonymous. The person behind the mask who's being executed, we don't know what their life is, what they've done, if they were innocent, if they were guilty. And when it comes to money and how that impacts the symbolism here, when you have no identity, the only thing that ties you to the world is your interactions with it. And a lot of our interactions with the world are monetary. People wouldn't care if we existed, right? As individuals off in islands elsewhere, just making our own food, having our own shelter. But since we operate within a society that has its own economy, its own financial systems, even if we are anonymous, we still have an effect. And that's why, I don't know, it's more important that we become identities. We become our own selves so that we can best operate and best treat others without just being greedy and selfish all the time. Anyways. Yep, the executioner imagery. Again with the noise, the ambient noise in the video, I love it.
Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate. When it makes believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. I say badly through gritted teeth, that's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech.
Wait, oh my god, the flow. Let's listen again. I needed to hear the lyrics here, but that Eminem flow, that rapid fire is so impressive.
Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate, when they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say badly through gritted teeth, that's my right to hate, that's freedom of speech.
It's my right to hate, that's freedom of speech. It's such a weird poison pill to swallow. We love freedom of speech, but there's oftentimes problems with saying anything and everything, lying, inciting violence, being hateful to people. It's a double-edged sword. We want to give people freedom, but when we do that, we often have to also take the negatives with that. So I'm not trying to be overly political here. It's just an interesting juxtaposition that we have, and it's always an internal battle that we have to struggle with ideologically as a society. You know, I live in the United States, where our First Amendment right is freedom of speech. In other countries, they have similar freedom of speech rights, but they vary based on certain of these nuances. So it's an interesting thing to bring up.
That's my right to hate, that's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make?
Literally.
There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the middle class savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourself.
You know, I should just let Ren speak and not cut him off so much. So I apologize to all of you. Sometimes I speak a little bit too long. Ren can do the talking for us, I think.
The middle class savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourselves. Your country was in flames. You denigrate yourselves in a second. Still you spit your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant. Cause all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent. I'll shed the light on immigrants. America was colonized by Britain. Britain, it was colonized by Rome, and also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again. Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations
preach,
play
brother.
on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions aren't our own, and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right. In the middle we sleep.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm getting so many... there's so much positive to take away from all of Ren's lyricism here, and I don't know, I'm getting, again, kind of flashbacks to Immortal Technique and the kind of things that he would rap about and the kind of things that he would speak on. Ren is always pointing out these hypocrisies everywhere. He's always saying, look, it's not black or white. There's always a gray area, and every society up until this point has valued themselves over everybody else and swallowed the hypocrisy and forced their citizens to believe in that hypocrisy. And, you know, as a result, we don't critically think. We follow the leader and we become sheep. We become soulless creatures that are perpetuating these same issues that will come back to bite us in the end. So Ren's ability here to literally reference all of these historical patterns of complete hypocrisy and selfishness, again, lends itself back to the money, to the power, to the greed that is making the world go round, but again, burning the world as it does so. Hypocrisy is one of the most frustrating things to encounter as a, I don't know, let's say well-tempered, well-meaning person, because I oftentimes do my very level best to be as informed as I can be, and if I'm not informed, I won't speak on something. Most people, and maybe not most, I don't want to make those assumptions, but a lot of people, and especially in today's day and age, are very quick to jump to conclusions that they have no evidence for. They have no evidence for, and they'll quickly believe it because it fits their ideology, it pacifies their ego. Instead of holding truth at the podium at which it should be, they have a need to be right, and they place that value above the actual truth or the care for fact or their due diligence, whatever it may be. And it's frustrating, and it makes everybody worse off. We don't learn anything. We just placate the demons that we have inside, and it's just fucking useless. Waste of time.
We follow like sheep, there's no left, there's no right, in the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 a storm it comes our way, and those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this whole money game.
Thank you, Ren. Thank you so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. he gives us the responsibility that we have, that we know that we have, instead of just talking about these issues generally and theoretically and, oh, I'm not that way, it couldn't apply to me. No, he says look at yourself, because how can you be better for others if you're not better within yourself, right? Clean your room. That's one of the things that Jordan Peterson says. Clean your room first and then work on everything else that's around you, because how can you be good for society if you're not good for yourself? You can't be somebody who's virtuous and moral if you're not virtuous and moral to yourself, to the people around you. And then again, we apply it to the economy, to finances. You don't want to be greedy for the sake of that. There's higher values here. There's things that matter more: family, love, trust, society, community. I mean, the list goes on and on, all before money. I love it. Just beat him up, and doing this all in one take. I think Ren is one of the only artists who I ever see do this. I think Ren and Dax. There's definitely more, but it's always impressive. It's always impressive.
This old money game.
I love Ren's falsetto. It's haunting, right? Stops him again. Interesting. Oh, wait a second. So he drew eyes on the mask. If I'm going to go into my symbolism now, before the person underneath the mask couldn't see, but now he's painted on these false eyes, giving this person who's anonymous a false perception. So he, in this situation, I think Ren is the executioner, is the government, is the entity above that controls who we are as sheep, who we are as people, controls the peons, the peasants, right? And painting on the eyes is so clever. It's so clever because when you do that, it's not actually you seeing, it's what they want you to see, right? It's what the people who are above, who are trying to maintain their power, maintain their wealth, maintain that structure of society, that's what they want you to see because it fits their narrative, it fits everything that they want out of you. And now I guess he's got the fire, so I'm scared. Is he sick with himself? Sick to his stomach? You don't have to do it, Ren. Where is his microphone? Is it like on his body? Oh, Ren's looking jacked. Good for you. Oh, there it is. Lights himself. The world will burn. No. In the end, it destroys himself, but he chose it. So he was in this circumstance. He was the one perpetuating the violence, the victimization of this innocent person who's just playing music, just having a good time, and in the end realizes somehow the error of his ways, feels immense guilt to the point that he has to completely unburden himself by lighting himself on fire. I'm trying to unpack that in my brain right now. I mean, it ties back to the world turning, the world burning, and he's causing the world to turn in the way that he wants it to, but in reality, he's setting everything ablaze as he does it, including himself. So maybe that's where that last bit of symbolism comes in, because when you do these things out of selfishness, out of greed, out of this megalomania, constant quest for power and wealth, you acquire it, and what did it get? What did it get you? Right? It gives you those things that are very ephemeral, fleeting. They don't stand the test of time. Money always goes. Power always goes. There's a quote in House of Cards. Uh, Power is better than money, but power never lasts. Kind of along those lines, not verbatim, but yeah, money is money and power both. They have this problem. They don't last the test of time, and in the end, you burn yourself. When you could have been a more fulfilled and whole human, you decided, look, power and wealth means more to me than family, than society, than feeling fulfilled, and that's awful. And I'm glad that Ren made this song in the way that he did, because it really just directly points at you as the person who's capable of changing your own perspective on what wealth and money means to you. You can use it as a means to achieve fulfillment, to be happy, to have some stability within your life, right? Because you need to remain financially stable so that you're not constantly fretting and anxious from paycheck to paycheck just because of the society we've structured. So you need some level of wealth to be sustained. But at what point does it stop? At what point are you actually at the point of diminishing returns? And at what point are you making society worse? You may be improving your own circumstances and ameliorating your own situation or your own immediate family's situation, but you're maybe making everyone else around you worse. And in fact, you're probably sacrificing a core and fundamental part of yourself to acquire those things. In the end, it's not worth it. Maybe it's easy for me to say as somebody who's not mega rich or anything like that, but I've been, relatively well off in terms of my upbringing. I never had any struggle with financial things. My parents they blessed me with that. And, some people, they take those blessings and they throw them away entirely. Some people, they don't have much and they have to work their way up and acquire all that wealth. But the wealth isn't the thing that actually matters at the end of the day. It's your ability to be safe and fulfilled. So if I had less wealth, I would need it to be safe. If I have an adequate amount of wealth, my job is to be fulfilled and make my family better, make society better. If you have a lot of wealth, maybe your job is also to do that. You have some responsibility there to improve the situations of others. And I'm not a full-on socialist. I'm not a full-on capitalist. I don't really care about all of the nuances of these things. I just think from a very humanist point of view. How can we improve the conditions around us for everybody's well-being? And I don't know. Ren does a really great job at making us think about those things out loud. I think he puts that thought in our brain at the center, gives us responsibility, gives us a moment of, I'm actually here. I'm actually a part of the system. I have influence, even though it's small. And, that's all we can really do. We have to just constantly think about that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you did, hit that subscribe button. And have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care and peace.